as heavyweight champion to see a competitive bout underneath you that will offer more opportunities?
Well, sure. It's always good to know that in a division that you have more than one good fighter, just a heavyweight champion in the world. You have Mike Tyson, you have Ruddock, you have Ruddock, you have a lot of other guys out there. And I feel that the reason why Ali was considered as a great fighter because he had a lot of great fighters in the division at the time that he was in. And right now, at this time, we have a lot of good fighters in the heavyweight division.
Richard Steele, of course, is going to be the story in tomorrow morning's newspapers, Evander. I don't know if you've had the occasion to fight with him in the ring or not. What was your impression again? Because again, well, let's go through this story one more time about the fact, as we take a look, Mike Tyson apparently is on his way into the ring, or actually into this press room area. And we'll get to him in just a moment. But Richard Steele in general, your impressions of him as a referee, and there's Mike Tyson, as you may see on the air just now. Your impressions of Steele.
Well, he had, in the last two fights, there's been some pretty bad decisions. But overall, in the previous fight, judging him, he called a very close fight, but it just so happened he missed the mark 2 times in a row, very big, and that's kind of raised a question on a lot of other people's mind. He had refereed a lot of my fight, and he called them how he seen them, and they was close fights, and he made good decisions. But you just unfortunate on this one, he really missed it.
Evander, Razor Ruddock was able to do very well in this bout, as you mentioned earlier, without using the jab much. Now, his left hand was okay. Why do you think he didn't jab more against Mike Tyson, which I know is something you would want to do?
Well, I feel that, I feel that his jab wasn't his biggest weapon. His uppercut was the biggest weapon. So if he wasted all his stamina using that jab, then he wouldn't have anything to back that jab up, and that would leave him open for the right hand and the left hook.
We're going to have to cut you off for just a moment because the story of the night is Mike Tyson and his victory, tainted as it may be, and Barry Tompkins is standing by. Barry. You were going to put him away.
All right, we're with Mike Tyson right now, and he is talking with a whole group of people here. It is just absolute chaos right now. I'm going to try to sneak in here and talk to him if I can.
Right back there.
We're going to try to stay with you right here if we can. We're going to sneak through here. There's a real traffic problem here. We're going to stay right with you.
Let the man get through. Hold it.
I'm right with you here. I think I'm supposed to be in there with you guys.
Well, live television, as you can see, is sometimes at best unrehearsed, as we are finding out now. There's Mike Tyson taking a shot at Wally Matthews. And Wally, maybe you can take it with Mike.
Thank you very much. All right, we're with Mike Tyson right now. Wally Matthews has joined us here too. And Mike, first of all, the obvious question, were you surprised at the stoppage when it happened?
Well, not really, but he was hurt. I figured probably Richard Steele made a decision that he thought was right. Even if he hadn't stopped, I would love to have stopped him and hurt him and put him out.
Give me a report card, your own report card on Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I never judged myself. I thought it was good that I won.
You have said that we have not yet seen the best of Mike Tyson. Have we seen the best of Mike Tyson after tonight?
No, not because I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm just trying. I'm doing my best to improve myself as a fighter.
You were a lot more patient tonight than I've seen you be.
Really? Well, I've been training really hard. I never took off since the Stewart fight, and I wanted to win this fight so bad because he started talking that I'm from Jamaica and we tough, we climb trees and get watermelon, and you know what I mean? No disrespect, because God, he punched so hard.
How tough was he?
He was a hard puncher, and he stayed in it even though I knocked him down. He was hit with a good shot on his equilibrium, and he went down. But he got back up and fought well.
In its own way, it seems like this is going to be a good thing for Razor Ruddock, because he's going to be able to make a case now, hey, I wasn't hurt, I want Mike Tyson again.
Well, good. I'll be glad to give him a fight. I fear no man. You know, I feel sorry for those guys that want to take on a guy like me, the killer of many.
Evander Holyfield's watching you right now. Anything to say for him?
In due time. In due time. He's not the real champ until he fights me.
Thank you, Mike. That's Mike Tyson. We're going to try to get Razor Ruddock at some point, but right now, let's take it back to you guys.
All right, Barry. Well, you, Evander, you heard Mike Tyson. Any comments?
Well, you know, Mike think he's a champion. You know, Mike, that's something Don King probably don't put in his head. And they saying that I'm running for Mike Tyson. It seemed more like he's running for me than I'm running for him. I'm the champ. He's the one that wants the opportunity. he now think that I should want to fight him for the opportunity.
Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, and Barry Tompkins standing by downstairs with the trainer of the victorious Mike Tyson, Richie Giacchetti. Barry.
All right, thanks very much, Charlie. I'm with Richie Giacchetti right now. Richie, let me have you give a report card, first of all, on the performance of Mike Tyson.
Well, I was very satisfied. You know, we had two first-round knockouts, and then we needed to work, and it went well. A couple times he fell asleep on me a little bit, but he came back out of it and then went to work. He was hurting him to the body, but one thing is, Razor does hit hard. I said that before, any big man, but we wore him down. He was one-dimension fighter. He had a left hand, and and that's why we beat him.
What everybody's going to be talking about, Richie, is the stoppage by Richard Steele when he stopped it. Not so much the fact that he did, but when he did.
Well, you see, there's another thing. The guy was going by with 3 or 4 punches unanswered. He was going off his feet. He'd been knocked down before. I think he was incoherent. I think he did a good job by stopping the fight. If they say again, instead, to go a little bit longer, Mike would have finished or maybe hurt the guy. We're not in the business like they were saying. We had a guy down for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, counting over the guy. It's a great thing. He knocked the guy out. He beat the guy. How many rounds did you give Razor Ruddock? We were winning the fight big. I mean, he didn't ever hurt Mike. Mike was never in trouble. I thought it was a very good job.
Did this fight go the way you drew it up, and was Razor Ruddock a tougher competitor than you expected he would be?
Well, we figured he would be tough. He has that on our style. He's big man. Big man's going to give a little man trouble. Until you got to wear a big man down, then you take him out. I mean, we were prepared to go 12 rounds. He got tired. Mike didn't. Mike kept getting stronger and stronger. When the second win, if he went a little round, he'd have got in the second win and finished him much easier.
What happened after the fight? It seemed like everybody was fighting except Ruddock and Tyson.
Well, D-Roy, his manager come over, his brother come over and started hollering and went to grab Mike. All I did was grab the guy and say, hey, man, be cool. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting sucker punched, kicked on the ground and everything else. I think I took a pretty good shot. See, I'm still here.
You're unmarked. Give the decision to Richie Giacchetti. Give the decision to Mike Tyson. It was a good win for him, despite the fact that somehow people are going to wind up talking perhaps a little bit more about Richard Steele than about Mike Tyson. But it was a good performance from Mike Tyson tonight. Let's go back to Charlie.
All right, Barry. Again, Richard Steele, who has been throughout the past 5 to 10 years considered to be one of the preeminent referees in all of boxing, is caught once again in the eye of a fairly significant storm. And we'll continue our live coverage of the Tyson-Ruddock aftermath on ESPN's extended edition of SportsCenter in just a minute. Champion of the world on tonight's fight, and where we go from here in the heavyweight division. Evander?
Well, it was a good fight, and I felt that, both of the guys fought a good fight, and both of them put 100% in, and it's good for the boxing fan to see the number 1 and 2 guy get in there and scrap it out, and both guys fight, and I'm just looking forward to getting on in there with George Foreman winning and fight the winner.
Evander, well, good luck, and we'll see you later this week down in Houston. Wally Matthews now is standing by with Donovan Razor Ruddock. Wally.
The obvious question, the stoppage of the fight. What were your feelings at the time that Richard stopped it?
We're gladiators and we're fighters. I was in the fight. I knew exactly where I was. He knocked me down. I knew where I was. I got back up. I fought. This is a heavyweight fight. You get hit and you go down. You get back up. You fight. But I think he should let us go out in style. You know what I mean? I think he should let us at least let me go down and let him count me out or something like that. I don't think he should start the fight the way he did.
We was hit hard.
And Tyson come over and he says, that was bull. That was bull. Because he knew that the fight should have gone on. We're gladiators. We get paid a lot of money for this kind of fight. Let's go out in style.
Yeah, all right. The way you're talking, though, you're sounding like you're saying that the ending of the fight was inevitable. That Tyson was about to knock you out anyway.
No,
is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, okay? Because you recover. Sometimes you get tired in there, and then you get a second win. Then you were supposed to give you a chance to get that second win.
Okay, you fought a kind of a curious fight from my standpoint. Watching you, you didn't really use your jab very much, and it seemed like you were trying to hit him with single power punches. Was that the plan going in?
Well, he had a pretty good defense. He had a good defense, and I thought I was going to get him coming in underneath the ducking on him with my jab. But apparently, he had a better defense than I thought he did. But it was a good fight.
All right, let's talk about the 2 knockdowns now. How badly were you hurt?
One knockdown. That was only one knockdown. Okay, one knockdown. The first one was a trip. The second one, he knocked me down. I got back up, but I knew exactly what was going on. He's a strong puncher, but he's not as strong as I thought.
Richard Steele did everything we protest that he would do. He stopped. He called a knockdown when there wasn't a knockdown. He stopped the fight when he wasn't even hurt. If you look at it, he bumped it. He did everything he could so this man can lose.
Okay, Murad Muhammad, the fighter's promoter. What action are you going to take, if any?
We got to file a protest. This is evident. This is big dollars here. This is this man's whole life. Once again, we was knocked down by fighter. The heaviest puncher in the boxing has been Bone Crusher Smith. Perez could have stopped the fight, but he's a competent referee. He didn't stop. He got up. He ended up knocking him out. You could see Tyson there. His punches was getting weak. It was just a matter of time we would have taken him out.
Okay, well, obviously you had a problem earlier with Steele. You'd requested he not work the fight, and he was appointed, and then yesterday, Murad, I heard you say that you had no objection to Richard Steele and that you weren't worried about it.
We never dreamed Richard Steele would do this in front of over 130 foreign countries. 16.5 million viewing audience was watching this. 500 plus closed circuit outlets, 300,000 hotel rooms. The world was watching it. We ain't never dreamed Richard Steele would do something in front of all these people, but he did.
All right, the controversy aside, the 6th round was your best round of the fight. It seemed you had Tyson hurt at the end of the fight, at the end of the round, and then in the 7th round, you kind of let him take the play back from you. What happened?
You see, at the fight in Spurt, I was trying to see, okay, he was going to run out of steam or something. I was going to catch my second one and come on in the later rounds. That's what I was trying to do. He's a strong fighter, so you have to know when to hit him and where to hit him. You can't just go in there and hit him in the early round because you will recover early. So I have to wait in the later round and come on and hit him when he lose a lot of his steam. That's what my plan was.
Thank you.
Okay, a very bizarre night here. Back to Charlie inside.
You got to do a CNN.
Charlie, if you're just joining us and we're unable to see the pay-per-view show at 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the 7th round, referee Richard Steele, after a flurry of punches by Mike Tyson, and clearly had Razor Ruddock shaken, stopped the fight. And so we have some controversy. You heard Razor Ruddock and his promoter Murad Muhammad say that they are going to file a protest first thing in the morning. Meanwhile, here in the press room, Mike Tyson and the news conference continues. Let's go down to the podium.
There was concern in the Rules Committee about having Steele as the referee. And first thing Murad said when he came out of the ring was, for now on, we'll fight in Jersey. So what do you think about that?
Let's fight again. I fear no man, no mortal, nobody but God, so we can do it again. I would love it.
Like that. All right. Mike, did you enjoy the fact that Richie was able to get you back in the fight? I mean, Richie talked to you straight at you. Did you enjoy that?
You know, can I tell you something? After the 3rd round, since you made that statement, after the 3rd round, I said, oh, God, he's not that bad. He's tough and he could punch and all that, but I know he's never been in there with a fighter like me.
Mike, at the end, when the referee stopped the fight at the end, did you think he was ready to go at that time?
Anyone that saw the fight, and the fighter, he wasn't going to last the round. I don't know how many seconds was left in the round, but he wasn't going to last the round.
Who's next?
Whoever. I'm going home, and I got a son. I'm going to hang out with my son for a while. He's big enough to play with now.
You know, it ain't nothing wrong with him dancing again. You got another young man right there that just offered me really cold. So there's going to be a lot of excitement now because the people know that the heavyweight division is going to be sitting right here. So we're going to take them all on. And it ain't, when Murad get here, I want to talk to Murad. It ain't nothing wrong with them dancing again. So we will see how we can work it out. That's all. It's a situation here where we're fighting the best at all times. So we got a man that we got set up to be the next bout, but we know what we see what the public opinion says because we're not running from anyone.
Right Jack Fisk, go ahead.
Mike, were you catching on to his left hook? Was he telegraphing after the first 2 rounds?
Well, can I tell you something? I'm very perceptive, and I was anticipating his punches. I seen his punches. I seen them all, yeah. I seen
right from the very beginning?
From start of the round, I seen them all. He was too emotional. When I watched him, when he came in the ring, as soon as I stepped in the ring, I looked at his face, and I saw he was too emotional. I said, no way he's going to win. I was telling my trainer, I said, he's going to lose tonight.
Yeah. Okay, over here.
You went to the body a lot. Was that more than you've done before, or was it by design, or what set it up?
Well, my trainer, for some reason, my trainers told me I was working very hard. For some reason, I don't feel I trained that hard. I really don't, you know what I mean? Because I'm hard on myself. My trainer said I worked real hard. Maybe it's because I've been training so long, for 4 months constantly. But I felt that I could have trained harder. I didn't feel confident in my training. But always in the ring, I'm always 100% confident. But I wasn't confident that I trained long enough, and I felt I could have done better.
Okay.
Mike.
Excuse me?
How long since you discarded the peekaboo style?
I don't know.
Mike, you said you weren't happy with your performance tonight. What didn't you do right?
could have threw more punches. I could have put more combinations. I could have put through more combinations together. I could have jabbed more. It just, I could, you know what I mean? Whatever I have to do, my objective is just to be the best that I can. You know what I mean? Just the best. The things that some people say look good, you know what I mean? I wasn't satisfied with it. If I was Razor Ruddock and I was fighting a guy like me, it would have been over.
Mike, would you categorize that as a dirty fight? And did you think the referee should have done a little bit more?
Mike Tyson now 40-1, a controversial 7th round TKO of Donovan Razor Ruddock. We will continue our post-fight coverage of the Ruddock-Tyson fight live from the Mirage in Las Vegas, Nevada in just a minute on this extended edition of SportsCenter.
You and Richard Steele probably have a few things to talk about, don't you?
Boy, there's a controversy brewing here in Las Vegas, and at the news conference behind us now, Murad Muhammad, who happens to be the promoter, of course, of Razor Ruddock, who Wally Matthews talked to just a moment ago, is talking about filing a protest. Of course, Murad Muhammad never wanted Richard Steele as the referee in the first place and made a big stink about it earlier in the week. Donovan Razor Ruddock is on the stage now, along with Murad Muhammad, and we'll get to them in just a minute. But first, let's go to Barry Tompkins and Wally Matthews, who talked to the two gladiators tonight for their final thoughts about the fight and the aftermath. First, Barry.
All right, well, first of all, let me ask Wally, you know, it seems like every time we have a big fight, Wally, I wind up saying, what a bizarre night, and here I am again saying, what a bizarre night.
You know, really, and it's just become such a mess. And I have to say, I feel kind of bad for Richard Steele, because I think he was in a bad position to begin with here. He was objected to by the Ruddock camp. He's got a connection, you know, to the owner of the hotel here, which may or may not mean anything. Most likely it doesn't, because I think Richard Steele is a man of the highest integrity. But he does work for Steve Wynn, who has an interest in Mike Tyson fighting here. So the questions are going to be raised, you know, did Richard Steele stop the fight to favor Tyson? Now, I'm not going to be the man to say yes or no, but that's something that he's going to have to answer.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's just strange that Richard Steele, once again, has the final word. Let's go back now to Charlie. Charlie?
And apparently we have had some camera failure in the back portion of the Mirage, where Barry Tompkins and Wally Matthews are standing by. So for some final thoughts, let's continue the train of thought, and here's Al Bernstein.
Well, I think there are a couple of things we have to really remember here. One, we have to remember the bout itself. Very important. We saw several things tonight. We saw Mike Tyson more vulnerable than he's been since the Douglas fight, and only in the Douglas fight. We saw in the 6th round Ruddock rake him over the coals, though he couldn't knock him down. Then we saw Mike Tyson respond and come back. That's important. The next part of this is the referee decision. I wouldn't, for a second, question the integrity of Richard Steele. I think he's a man of honor and tries to follow the rules. But the bottom line tonight is, at a bad moment, Richard Steele, who is has been one of the best referees in boxing, he froze, Charlie. He made a very bad decision. It's very possible Mike Tyson would have knocked Ruddock out maybe 40 seconds later, maybe 2 rounds later, but I don't care. You have to give him the chance.
Absolutely. Richard Steele, of course, in the eye of the storm in the Chavez-Taylor fight last year, just about a year ago for that matter. It was March of last year. And the Ides of March have not been friendly to Richard Steele. But for Mike Tyson, a 7th round TKO over Donovan Razor Ruddock, who put on a better performance than many perhaps expected. Whether or not there's going to be a rematch down the road, of course, time will tell. Ruddock and his camp are planning some kind of a protest, but generally those kinds of things go for naught. For Al Bernstein and Dan Patrick, Bob Lee, and the entire crew, Barry Tompkins as well, I'm Charlie Steiner. So long from the Mirage in Las Vegas, SportsCenter on ESPN, and we'll see you later.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Levi's 505 and 540 jeans for men.
The main objective was I wanted to beat him bad. I wanted to dominate him, because I didn't want to have any doubt in his mind that he could beat me. You know, beating him like I did, slowly, getting him a slow beating him, stopping him like that, he has no doubt. Maybe everybody else could complain, but he knows in his mind he could never beat me.
Also, one of the first things Mike Tyson said is that this man deserved a rematch. It was stopped in the 7th round. Donovan Razor Ruddock was hit with a couple of hard shots, a left and a right. He was up against the ropes, and veteran referee Richard Steele stepped in, said he had seen enough. That started actually a small-scale riot as the Donovan Razor Ruddock people stormed the ring and were protesting most vehemently. They had to protect Richard Steele to get him out of the ring. And afterwards, Ruddock said, well, he was disappointed the match was stopped when it was stopped.
But I think Richard Steele, he was a very biased referee in another way because he pushing me. Like Tyson was low blowing me, he was elbowing me. I was even talking to Tyson and said, listen, what he's head-butting me? He did everything dirty in that fight. And Richard Steele didn't do nothing, absolutely nothing at all. And that's what I don't like. And he stopped it too early. And Tyson came over and said, you shouldn't have started the fight so early. You should let, you know, the fight goes on.
He said, BS. He said, BS, Razor, you deserve a rematch. Everyone saw
That's the first thing Tyson told us. You deserve a rematch. But going back to the beginning, you were talking about, you know, Tyson's psychological games. You're not going to fall for that stuff. Were you intimidated at all?
Did I look intimidated?
You didn't.
Okay, well, I wasn't.
Right. It was just
listen, when I walk with God, I'm not fearing no man. And I went in there. I tried to take him out, you know. I wasn't successful taking him out. But, hey, listen, I have nothing to take away from myself. You know, I'm not afraid of Tyson. I'm not afraid of nobody.
We are shocked of Richard Steele's action. We over 600.5 million viewing audience was watching this over 120 foreign countries, and for Richard Steele to do something like that, it's a shame.
Razor, what about the crucial elements, though? We looked at the jab stats. You weren't throwing a lot of jabs. You had your reach.
For some reason or another, I was trying to catch him with power shot because the jab would not work. Tyson go work through that. He'd hit a couple of those jabs and come under that. So what I was trying to do was catch him with the uppercut, a left uppercut, and then hurt him and get on him with a right hand. But apparently I wasn't able to do that.
You were throwing some major league shots. I mean, you were swinging for the fences.
I was trying to take him out. I was trying to shake him, at least hurt him a little bit. But apparently you have a very good defense. I have to give him credit for that. And, you know, I can't take away nothing from Mike Tyson, and I can't take away nothing from myself. We're gladiators. We're fighters.
Well, he was hard to hit cleanly, I understand. Did you junk any strategy? Did you change up when things weren't working?
No, what I was doing was trying to catch him on the inside. Working him a little longer in the fight, take him a little longer in the fight, come on in the later rounds where he's not as strong as he was in the earlier rounds. So when I hit him, the shot played more effect on him in the later rounds, but I didn't get a chance to go in the later rounds.
We're the people's champ.
Was this tougher than you thought, this fight? Obviously you lost it, so it was. Why was it so much tougher?
It's a tough fight. I expected that kind of fight, though. I didn't expect no easy fight. Right. He's Tyson. He's Mike Tyson. He's a heavyweight fighter, you know. He's a hard puncher, and he don't get his name out. He don't get where he is by just fighting bombs. He fight the best in the world. So I expect that kind of fight, but I don't think there's any one of the other heavyweights.
Another heavyweight.
Hold on, I don't think there's any other one of the heavyweights out there can walk in the ring with us.
And you feel, as far as the public, you distinguish yourself. You should get a rematch now. That should be next for you.
Oh, definitely.
You're not discouraged by that.
Oh no. Name another man.
Look at me. Sure. I'm a warrior.
There is losing, and then there is losing with dignity, and Donovan Razor Ruddock certainly seems to have done that. We can expect, I think, to see a rematch happen sometime in the near future. As of right now, George Foreman takes on the heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield April 19th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The winner of that fight will probably be taking on the winner of tonight's fight, who again is Mike Tyson, who is now 40-1. With 19 knockouts and now 20 with a technical knockout tonight of Donovan Razor Ruddock. We'll, of course, have a full report from our Nick Charles coming up at 2:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m. Eastern, or 11:30 p.m. Pacific Time out on the West Coast on CNN Sports Late Night.
Start with some physical battles of a different nature. Only two men, Floyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali, have ever won the undisputed heavyweight championship more than once. And Monday night, Mike Tyson was hoping to move one step closer to joining that elite trio. To do so, Tyson would have to dispose of Donovan Razor Ruddock, a man some felt could beat Tyson. The 12-round bout took place in Vegas at the Mirage Hotel, and what happened in the fight, in the ring, definitely appeared to some to be a mirage. Charlie Steiner heads up ESPN's crew in Vegas and has this report.
Thank you, and welcome back to the desert in Las Vegas. And someday they may call this night Operation Desert Sham. You had a fighter named Iron, a fighter named Razor, and the fight was decided by a man named Steele. Controversy abounded in the 7th round technical knockout, Mike Tyson over Razor Ruddock, when referee Richard Steele stopped the fight about 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the 7th round. Al Bernstein, you've been covering fights a good long time. Ever seen anything quite like this one?
This was a little strange, to be sure. We've seen stoppages too early. This was surely one. I come away with this bout, really, Charlie, with 3 significant feelings. One, that Razor Ruddock Ruddock was better than many of us thought he was, and fought basically as a one-armed fighter, again using the left. Whether it's because the right was hurt or he just doesn't have a good right, that was the case. Number two, that Mike Tyson, we wondered what would happen when he faced adversity in the ring again. He responded. He was hurt badly in the 6th round by Razor Ruddock, came back to win in the 7th. And the third thing is that this sport simply cannot escape controversy. Richard Steele, questioned before the bout as the referee, generally a competent referee, and a man who I believe does have integrity and is an honest man, simply froze, did the wrong thing, stopped the bout way too quick, and thus cast a shadow on what otherwise was a very good heavyweight match.
And of course, it was about a year ago this time, also in Las Vegas, when Richard Steele stopped that controversial Meldrick Taylor-Julio Cesar Chavez fight here in this town. After the fight tonight, Mike Tyson, now 40-1, spoke with our Barry Tompkins.
The obvious question, were you surprised at the stoppage when it happened?
Well, not really, but, you know, he was hurt. I figured probably Richard Steele made a decision that he thought was right. Even if he hadn't stopped, I would love to have stopped him and hurt him and put him out.
In its own way, it seems like this is going to be a good thing for Razor Ruddock, because he's going to be able to make a case now, hey, I wasn't hurt, I want Mike Tyson again.
Well, good. I'll be glad to give him a fight. I fear no man. You know, I feel sorry for those guys that want to take on a guy like me, the killer of many.
Mike Tyson, the controversial winner, and Wally Matthews talked with the controversial loser, Donovan Razor Ruddock.
The obvious question, the stoppage of the fight, what were your feelings at the time that Richard stopped it?
You know, we're gladiators and we're fighters. I was in the fight. I knew exactly where I was. He knocked me down. I knew where I was. I got back up. I fought. You know, this is a heavyweight fight. You get hit and you go down. You get back up. You fight. But I think he should let us go out in style. You know what I mean? I think he should let us at least let me go down and let him count me out or something like that. I don't think he should start the fight the way he did.
The man in the middle of the ring tonight and the man in the middle of the controversy, referee Richard Steele, offered no apologies for his decision in the ring after the fight.
I saved a life.
You're not second guessing what you did at all, Rich?
No, he was done. He was going to get hurt. I don't want to count him out when he's flat on his back. Let him fight again.
There's a conflict of interest here, okay? Richard Steele's work for Steve Wynn. Steve Wynn and Don. Okay, Steve Wynn and Don King, they're partners here. Right. All right? Can you see the whole alliance that's there? The first opportunity that he got to stop the fight, he stopped the fight.
Referee Richard Steele, who of course has refereed several of Evander Holyfield's fights over the years, and Holyfield joined us live earlier this evening. He offered these comments about the referee Richard Steele.
I don't think he should have stopped it that way, because it's a big fight, and you take away a man's dream to stop a fight, he don't even hit the canvas. He did get caught with a lot of good shots, but he was retaliating back, and Mike just caught him with good shots.
So that's the story of tonight's fight, and where do we go from here? Al Bernstein, what about the future as a result of this?
Well, the future is tied to what we saw tonight. And I think what we saw tonight, with all due respect to Mike Tyson, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for the way he overcame adversity in that 6th round when Razor Ruddock had him in big trouble. This was not the same Mike Tyson that we had seen before Douglas. It was not. He does not have the same quick combination punching, and he is an easier target to hit, and he is not as aggressive. And so because of that, I think that if and when Mike Tyson gets into the ring against either Evander Holyfield or George Foreman, he will lose. He will lose big to George Foreman, and early. And if Evander Holyfield gets through the first 3 rounds, he will also win very big against Mike Tyson.
But he first may have another date with Donovan Razor Ruddock. For Al Bernstein, I'm Charlie Steiner at the Mirage in Las Vegas. Let's go back to Sports Center.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. On the undercard last month, we saw Sugar Ray Leonard defeated and retire for good. Well, Monday night, 40-year-old Roberto Duran looked every bit of his age as he gets TKO'd in the 6th by Pat Lawler. Best of friends went at it as Simon Brown added the WBC version of the welterweight title to the IBF belt he already has. And Julio Cesar Chavez defended his IBF and WBC junior welterweight title with a 4th-round TKO of John Duplessis, who was anything but super.
Bob Fusello, CNN Headline Sports. Many people, if not most, that saw last night's heavyweight fight between former champ Mike Tyson and Razor Ruddock feel even if the fight wasn't stopped, Tyson still would have won it. But we'll never know. In the 7th round, Tyson staggered Ruddock with a combination of punches, with Ruddock wavering but never falling. However, referee Richard Steele immediately stopped the bout. Tyson credited it with a controversial 7th round TKO.
I was in a hell of a fight. It was a tough fight. But I knew from the third round, I was confident that I was going to win the fight. You know what I mean? Everyone told me, I read people, Ed Schuyler, this guy said he was going to knock me out. Everybody complained about the stoppage, but Ruddock, maybe the stoppage was leery, but I can't judge Richard Steele because he's more competent than I am.
Richard Steele, he was a very biased referee in another way because he pushing me. Like Tyson was low blowing me, he was elbowing me. I was even talking to Tyson and said, listen, what he's head-butting me? He did everything dirty in that fight. And Richard Steele didn't do nothing, absolutely nothing at all. And that's what I don't like. And he stopped it too early. And Tyson came over and said, he shouldn't have started the fight so early. He should have let, the fight goes on.
Said, yo, man. You turned it out. Would y'all put your hands together for Mike Tyson? You turned it out, man. You turned it out. Oh, boy. You want to talk? Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at that. Yes. That's very nice. Yeah. Oh, I should tell him about Showtime this weekend. Yeah. That's very nice. I thank you for him. I should throw this out at you real quick. On Showtime Saturday night, they're going to repeat the fight. That's Saturday the 23rd of March, 10 p.m. All time zones, right? Yeah. Check your local listing or call Showtime. And it's also on Wednesday. They're going to do it. You don't even know, see? I'm a fan, I know. It's Saturday and it's Wednesday on Showtime. If you got a moment, we should sit and talk because it looked like they might want to hear what you have to say. Oh, I don't know about that, man. Carson, he is the king, man. I don't know if I could do this for 20 years.
Please, man. Who was the king before him?
I don't know. I think he's the first. He was saying, imagine doing this another 20 years. I'm thinking, like, if they let me do it one more year, I'm going to move in with Michael and, get the hell out of it. Can I ask you about your comment after the fight? And I'll quote you.
He hit like a mule. It's unbelievable. He's like a mule.
What kind of post-fight comment was that?
I didn't know it was on television. I forgot.
Oh, really?
I forgot.
You get that excited and you forget where you are, or did he hit that hard?
No, he hit real hard because, of course, he busted my eardrum. But, when I'm in that state, I'm so relaxed. That's the whole thing about it. I'm very relaxed in there. And then once the fight is over, then I get extremely excited. My adrenaline's pumping, I'm extremely excited. And I can't sleep for 2 or 3 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the eardrum. He did what?
He busted my eardrum.
Like with a hook or something?
Yeah.
Ouch. And will that affect you permanently in any way?
No, it's healed up. It's just slightly sore, but it's healed up now.
Yeah. Is he the toughest opponent you've ever had?
Well, no. As you know, I handled him relatively easy. Mm-hmm. It was just, I was just so excited. I was up for the fight. But I knew I just had to be relaxed, and I could handle him very well. And I told before the fight, I said, this is not going to be the hardest fight everyone thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, he was supposed to come by today. He said he was going to stop by here, And that's why I was hoping he'd stop by, because he might not like the jokes I've done about him, and I'd have to go back to Jamaica as long as he's in the States. Who is the toughest man you've ever fought?
I don't know.
What's the toughest fight? Like the fight that you say, wow, that was a day's work.
Let me see, perhaps Tony Tucker.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that 6th round with Razor? At any point were you nervous?
Actually, I was never hurt, because I'm always relaxed. And once I'm confident and relaxed, I go into a stage where nothing penetrates. I'm very elusive. I don't get hit. And if I do get hit, I refuse to let it affect me. The next day I was sore, of course.
Yeah.
But at that particular moment, I don't care. And he wants a rematch. Next time I'll kill him.
There was a point where you did something like this, insinuating, hit me, you know, give me your best. Is that what that was?
Well, actually, because, I mean, he had his reputation of being such a murderous puncher. Well, I guess actually it was true because of the damage he's done. And he's always, he was bragging about, I knocked guys off for 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 2 days. And
yeah, they had commercials on.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know, Razor Ruddock knocked out Bone Crusher for 3 months. You know?
and I know you saw those.
And you know, that didn't bother me because more than anything, I'm very secure in myself and secure about my ability. And I'm very confident. And I know if I'm prepared well mentally, you could drop this building on my chin, I won't go anywhere.
So after you did that, he threw one and hit you with it. And was that the mule?
No, he threw punches. The punches that didn't connect solidly, the punches that missed. And I felt them on my arm, and I felt they were very solid punches. But like I said, he never fight for anybody like me. As well as this shit, I could, you know what I mean, I can take it as well.
Yeah. As I look over here at your friends, you know, all the guys, they were involved in a little thing after the fight. How y'all doing? Where's John Horn?
You know John's not a fighter. That's sweet daddy John Horn.
Well, yeah, because John was,
Hey, come on now, chill. What's up? You get my leather messed up now, hey.
you know, but John didn't get in it, but you was throwing. What was that about?
I don't know. I guess some guy was protesting to the referee, and as he was doing that, my trainer jumped in because he thought that perhaps they were going to attack because they were irate at the moment. So he jumped in the way, and then they attacked him, and they started fighting, and we won both fights.
Yeah. Is there some kind of problem now between Razor and his managers? And answer that, and also answer the relationship between the guy Muhammad, his manager, and Don King. How's their relationship?
You know, as you know, they get emotional, I guess. Murad got emotional over the fighter because, of course,
That's Murad Muhammad?
Yes, that's his name. And he's not a bad guy anyway. He just got excited over the fight. He got emotional, which you should never get emotional with your fighter. Believe it or not, you know what I mean? Even though you have to look at it, it sounds a little harsh, but you look at that guy as probably something like stock. You can't get emotional. Once you get emotional, you can't think well. You know what I mean? You get involved like the other night when the fighter got beat. He got emotionally involved and he went crazy. You know what I mean? He wasn't thinking with the faculties that no, he's a very bright guy. And he was upset, and it makes him say things, and he doesn't look as well or as bright as he normally is because he got so emotional with the situation.
Are him and Razor all right now?
I don't know. I believe so.
Yeah. How are Muhammad and Don King?
You know, they're good friends from what I hear.
Yeah. And you use the word stock. You don't want like a person like Don King to consider you stock, do you?
No, but you can't have somebody be emotional with you. If someone's emotional with you, and this is like your son fighting, and you see your son perhaps getting hit with a hard punch, and you're, oh God, no, he can't take it no more. You know what I mean? You have to let a man walk his walk. You know what I mean? If there's something that he chooses to do, let him go all the way. You know what I mean? You can't get involved because if he fails, you just let him know he failed doing his best. You have to fail doing your best. Because if you fail and you felt that you were going to fail, and this guy he prematurely gets involved in the situation, you have that doubt in your mind. And you should know. You should know if you can do it or you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can live with yourself.
You know, I watch between rounds. You're on the stool, and somebody's Q-tip in your ear, and they put water in your mouth, you know, and they do all kind of stuff to you, and they give you directions. Do you know what? I mean, are you even into what they're saying?
It's funny because it transcends, you know what I mean? I'm in my own world, but you know what I mean? It fits in some kind of way. It's hard to describe it, you know what I mean?
Would you like them to chill sometimes? Because it seemed like so many people screaming and talking. It's Mike, come on now, your game plan, you know? It's like,
you know, it's funny because even though I'm calm and relaxed, I understand everything that's going on. It's so funny people say this. I'm so relaxed, I know, and I see everybody in the crowd as well. I see everything. I don't hear as much, but I see everything. I'm very relaxed.
Okay, I'll give you a test. Was Jesse Jackson there?
Yes.
Okay. You passed. You saw everybody. Let's talk about referee Richard Steele, who messed up my pay-per-view money. Should he have stopped that fight?
You know, I didn't think he should have at the first time when the fight stopped because I was as you know, I was stalking him. I was hitting him. He was going back, and he was about ready to go as it was, and I was very close. And that's one time in my career, as we've been practicing in the gym. I know I always hit a guy once or twice, and then wait for him to fall. And sometimes the guys don't fall, and they come back and they hit you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right? So this time I'm hitting the guy, and he's going back, and I'm following him. And it's the first time I'm doing it. And it's a learning stage, and I'm doing what I've been taught to do for 5 or 6 years, and I haven't did it correctly. And I haven't, and then he comes and he pushes me away. And then the other guy stopped, and I said, what the hell happened? I'm saying, what happened? So he pushed me away. So I said, well, I got the fight. But it was kind of shaky. So then I saw it on film. And I saw it had one more punch. He was hurt pretty bad, and he couldn't defend himself.
I saw his arm go over the rope. But shouldn't the ref look in his eyes, talk to him? Don't they do something with their hands? Or...
Yeah, but when someone's involved with that kind of exchange, and he's getting punched, and his head's going all the place in his hands like this, and it looks like he's lifeless, and it's scary. And as you know, he's been involved with a fight when a fella died.
And who was that?
Dooku Kemp, when he fought Mancini.
Oh, yeah. Ray Boom Boom. Yeah. So I guess in his mind, so is that why since then he had the reputation of stopping stuff early?
He's a very competent referee, and I don't know why the other guy had the complaints about him. He's the best referee, perhaps, in Nevada, is not one of the best. And these things happen. Sometimes a good referee have a bad night, but he shouldn't have no qualms. I'll give the other guy a rematch.
Yeah. Yeah, and he can regroup. And who would win? Who would win if Razor and Holyfield fought?
Because the guy, I always think Razor would beat him. Because the guy is so big, he's so big and he punches so hard. He would beat him.
That'll be interesting.
Oh, it won't. It would never happen. I would get my hands on Holyfield before he does.
You had a game plan before you went into the ring. Did it change at all?
When I went in the ring, I said, yeah, I'm just gonna go out here, I'm gonna see what he has. You was a little, you get a little leery because you hear the guy's reputation. But once I stand in the ring, I look across and he looked like he was very anxious to fight. I said, I'm gonna blast him, I'm gonna slaughter this guy. I just get upset. Only time, it's not really only time I get upset because I look at these guys, and they try to intimidate me. And I hate the fact that the guy tries to intimidate me, looks at me mean.
That stare down during the...
Yeah, because that's irrelevant. That don't mean anything. It doesn't mean... But just the fact that they go through the whole ceremonial bull, looking at me, let me hold me back for a little bit, I'm going to kill him. Oh, it just...
It makes you mad.
Yeah, I get upset.
Because you didn't shake his hand in the beginning. Would you? I'm sorry.
It's so funny because everybody, it comes to a time everyone believes. They become intellects all of a sudden. They go through a situation. They say, well, you could do this and you could do that, and they feel confident. I'm better than this and that, and I get upset because they say, well, Mike Tyson. Everybody was afraid of Mike Tyson. There's a reason everybody's afraid of Mike Tyson because that Ray Ruddock wasn't afraid, and then at a certain time in that fight, something happened to him. He didn't just die out all of a sudden and stop throwing punches because he wasn't afraid. Something happened to me, make him feel that way. So that's how come I feel that way about them. And these guys, I think they're garbage. When they mention my name, I want their veins to turn white. I want them to sweat blood because I'm going to do damage on them.
Wow, that scared me. Well, I'm going to keep doing the talk show. That's a tough business you're in. Were you sore the next day?
Mostly just for punching because he's always blocking with his hand, and my arm would hit his elbow or something.
Yeah. He said you did things that were not fair and according to the rules. Is that true?
I fight to win.
What kind of stuff was he talking about?
I don't know. He said I hit him low. He had his shorts up to his throat. Oh, boy. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it because one day he might show up, and I hope you're here when he shows up. Oh, man, the fight is on Showtime Saturday and Wednesday, I think, 10 p.m. On King Vision. King Vision.
It's not really Showtime, huh?
King Vision.
It's King Vision.
Showtime's involved with King Vision.
Only in America. This is Mike Tyson. I'll be right back with Hulk Hogan.